I am going to chat with you and share with you some information that if you pay close attention, you will get the secrets behind the minds of private equity. I'm going to share with you some secrets that you normally don't see. I'm going to share with you the secrets that shift your mindset about what digital health is and what the world is looking for. Because often we use this term digital health, and while you're involved in many different aspects of the discipline, how many of you almost automatically think about your smartphone? Most of you. And yet it's so much broader. As a matter of fact, next week in Tel Aviv, I'm booked to do a debate with a famous academician on, essentially, has digital health failed? Just out of curiosity, I'm taking the point of view that it is not. He's taking the point of view that it absolutely has. How many of you think, raise your hands, digital health has failed? How many of you, there you go. How many of you feel it hasn't failed? Raise your hands, please. Thank goodness. The majority of you think it's alive and well. Is it on, shall we say, is it in the ICN? I think not. And I'm going to share with you data right now that proves that point. First of all, let me bust the impression you have of what is digital health. This is digital health. All of these elements comprise what, in fact, is digital health. For some people in drug development, it's about decentralized clinical trials and all of the technology that's needed. For some people in the hospital system, it's about scraping data off of EMRs to determine what codes weren't billed. Digital health means many things to many different people. But let me share with you a big surprise. If it moves, if it's a nugget of information, it's going to be digitized. And who's going to do that? You are, the people in this room. You are going to make that happen. So let me share with you now the secrets. And in the course of what I'm going to do, by the way, my name is Gil Bashe. I'm Chair of Health and Global Purpose at Fin Partners. But I'm drawing from my experience of years in private equity at a $10 billion fund, having done countless transactions. I'm sharing with you my experience as a CEO of a billion-dollar company, making assessments on investments. And I'm sharing with you my assessment right now on looking at 680 million data points over 16,000 ventures globally. Often people come into this room, and I've heard it during the past 3 days, and they say digital health is doing well or it's not doing well based on a total number. That is incredibly, incredibly misleading. Don't listen to those people, or listen to them out of respect. But where is the money being spent now? Why is it being spent in a certain way? I'm going to disclose that to you in the next 15 minutes. First of all, here's a summary of what we're going to talk about. And this is pretty key. By the way, what I'm looking at periods to periods. So I'm looking at, let's say, the second half of 2022 to the first half of 2023. Sometimes I'm looking back to the first half of 2022, comparing it to the first half of 2023. Guess what? It's not exactly what you think. It's not a question of total number up and down. It's all over the place. But actually, if we look at the total number, guess what? In H1 2022, values reached about $8 billion. But in the first quarter of this year, I'm going to show you, actually investment is trending back up. Where, why, how, we're going to explore that. So this data right now tells you what's going on overall. There are 700 new partnerships, ventures in New York, in North America alone. What sort of partnerships? Well, first of all, take a look at the focus here on digital health ventures. What's up, what's down? Things that were up previously are down. Things that were down are up. What's up? Look at this. Research solutions, drug discovery, drug development, decentralized clinical trials, up substantially. and staying up. Health management solutions, up 60%. What does that mean? Well, we just heard from Tim about taking a look at how do we structure the health system? How do we get value for the health system? Those investments are up. What's down? Medical diagnostics. What do I mean by that? Here's a device that you can use to determine what is the status of a fetus in development and send that data via your smartphone to your OBGYN. Those investments are down. What's down? Health insurance tech, by a little bit though, almost not significant. And telemedicine is down not because telemedicine isn't hot. It's just that because of coding, reimbursement, doctors want you back in many cases in their office. They get a better sense of reimbursement. They can do more. They make more money in essence by having that face-to-face visit. Doesn't mean telemedicine is on the skids. Tremendous amount of money going into different areas. But if you look at North America, it's pretty strong. Europe, though, is getting much stronger. Why? France, Germany, UK are setting out legislation, policies that make it possible for physicians and health systems to use digital health. That's very key. So sometimes we tend to look at our problem, our region. Yes, in North America, we're seeing a decline. In other regions, we're seeing an increase. Next, take a look at this now. Funding in North America is up from the second quarter of last year to the first quarter of this year. It's actually rebounding, and we're seeing strong performance in investment. It's not disappearing. You may be having a harder time, and I'm going to show you why in a few moments. But in fact, more money is being put out on the table differently than ever before. Next, the ecosystem development. This is pretty key, because if we look at this, in fact, and we look at this, you don't see this well, North America actually is shrinking in terms of total investment. Investors are looking globally now. They're still going to the Middle East. They're still going to Europe. They're shrinking a little bit on North America. By the way, anybody want to scream out, if you're involved in private equity, what's the job of someone in private equity? Anybody care to scream it out? Return on investment. They'll go wherever they feel there's return on investment. If they don't feel they'll find it sufficiently in this nation, they'll go elsewhere. Venture distribution by stage. Now look at the first quarter right here, first half of the year in 2023. Where's the money going? Earlier stage ventures. Less capital deployed, less money needed, more control, most certainly more TLC required. But if you look at some of the big ventures they put money into, Pear, Babylon, Olive AI, all collapsed for various different reasons. We can talk about that perhaps in a quick break. In fact, by going in earlier, private equity that's acquired all of the experience of the category can in fact have much more voice and influence. So how many of you are early stage ventures? Could you raise your hand for a second? Okay, a few of you. How many of you are really Series B type ventures? Anybody here? A few. How many of you are investors? Okay. By the way, I think through HitLab, this data can be shared. I'm very happy for everybody to get the slide deck. Okay. First half of 2023, yes, 41% down over previous years. Deals down again in North America specifically. Here are some of the biggest players. They're not traditional players, by the way. They're not the people you would think would be coming in and putting money on the table. Absolutely not. We're actually bringing in a whole new suite of players that are probably not on your radar screen. Next, this is really key. Partnerships. Many of you are looking for money. I would recommend two things for you to think of. One, partnerships, basically creating pilots for the work you're doing. Two, Incubators, accelerators, and then private equity. An incubator and accelerator is like an Ivy League college. If you hook up with the right incubator or the right accelerator, you're going to get to the dollar value you want next. And if it's not in your plans to think about an incubator, I highly recommend that you consider that. There are a tremendous amount of great incubators, and who are they often connected to? I'm going to talk to you in a moment. Here's the partnership wheel. And look at where those partnerships are. And this is the color coding: startups, insurance, pharmaceutical, and so forth. It's very diversified. Obviously, the biggest one are startups working with startups. But here's where the most active partners are, which you've thought of Mayo, by the way, Mount Sinai, Cedars-Sinai. What are the biggest partnerships right now? They're actually academic medical institutions. And this is really key. If you're involved in a therapeutic area, how many of you are involved in therapeutic areas? Okay, a few of you. If you're involved in therapeutic areas, this is where in your business plan, you need to really think it through. Because the aspect, which is what I said, I think yesterday, people came up to me when I was asked a question. You're competing against tablets and capsules, or biologics even. And so often digital therapeutics produce just enough data to comfortably get their 510K approved by the FDA. And that is just not going to work. We'll give you permission to market, but I'm actually seeing companies right now that have had the 510K for more than a year, and they're purposely not selling anything. They're using the 510K as a way to structure clinical trials and make physicians feel very comfortable enrolling patients in the trial on the basis of the 510K and looking at a comparative to tablets, not necessarily instead of, but complementing other therapeutic options. It's not either or. It's actually looking at, as what you've heard earlier today, outcomes. The focus is on clinical results for outcomes. So when you're looking at your business plan and people say, what do you need the money for? Sometimes you're going to say to keep the lights on. Trust me, from a private equity side, they don't want to invest in your keeping the lights on. They want to understand where you need to deploy the money. Just out of curiosity, we took a look at where the money is going. It's shifting around a little bit. Interesting. But a prediction I made, Tennessee. Tennessee is going to surprise you, but Nashville actually generates about $43 billion a year off of health. It generates $26 billion a year off of music. So Music City is really health hub. You have HCA, you have LifePoint. They're spawning off new ventures all the time. Actually, Cressy Toma has just established a fund there under the direction of Bill Frist, a former leader in the Senate, great cardiac surgeon, the son of Tommy Sr., the brother of Tommy Jr., created HCA. There's a huge amount of money in Nashville, Tennessee. And they're always looking for technologies and ideas they can integrate into their system. Funding values have dropped, you've heard that before, and that's one of the reasons why actually venture capital is kind of pulling back a little bit. They're pumping the brakes. It's not that they're not interested. It's just that they can't get the return on investment. They expect for a successful venture about a 20% return on investment to cover for all the investments that didn't make it. And what they've learned from 2021, where they threw a ton of money into the category because of COVID, is FDA approval is simply insufficient. It's about getting reimbursement. It's about getting paid. And so it's not that they don't love digital health. They do. They just want to understand your business model. So some of the things I highly recommend you embed in your model, and not things like my category is worth $300 billion. I see a lot of that in presentations. Don't do that. You can do it, but don't do that. They really want to understand the economic model. Who will pay for this? Why? And do you have essentially a CMS strategy or a private payer strategy? Or are you going to use money that they might give you to hire a great firm like King and Spalding, which has a whole team that focuses on reimbursement logistics legally? So take a look at that. The ecosystem development, again, highest funding clusters going on. You know, I would say that the cumulative ventures are dropping little by little, but I wouldn't worry about that. It's really insignificant if you've got something going for you. Again, here's the big noteworthy deals. They're not in the billions in this category, but they are in the hundreds of millions. And a company, let me give you an example. Let me find one here that I think is really cool. Zipline. Well, Zipline is a decent one, but again, it's 330 million. There's nothing really special about these. 98.6 is a very interesting one for you to study. It was about the combination of telemedicine and personalized care available 24/7. Very simple system, a very simple system, executed brilliantly and getting paid. That's it. Anybody's welcome to send me an email, follow me on social media, ask me a question. I'll do my best to get back to you. If I don't respond immediately, please be persistent. It's just that I'm getting a lot of communications and I'm traveling. I absolutely, totally want to help you. What's the cost for this help? Absolutely nothing. Zero. I don't charge people. I want to help you succeed and pursue your dream and succeed and help people. That's it. Thank you very much.